Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I'm Jackie. And again, I went to the roast office. That's what I do on my day off. Because if I'm feeling like I've been inside all the time and don't go out unless except for when I go to work to go in the parking lot, which is why I have a bit of a farmer's stand going on. And whenever I feel restless and I end up going to the roast office and buying books. But as always, I still stick to my 3-book limit because I don't want to, I try not to spend $16 on books. So I just, once again, I got 3 books. I also am going to go ahead and update. I don't have a lot to update about my reading because, I've been working the past 3 days. I was able to start some new books, and I went ahead and gave in and started reading The Unconsoled, which is really good so far. It's kind of weird though, in a intriguing way, because it feels like our main character, there's one moment where he's this famous pianist. I don't know how to say that word. And he's come to this hotel, and he's in there, one of the porter. He makes the porter of the hotel starts talking to him, and just making conversation, being very friendly. He's this older gentleman, and he talks about his daughter and grandson, and how his daughter has been it seems like she's been really unhappy, and her young son is noticed things. He's getting a vibe here, and so he asks. And throughout these first few chapters, our main character has been asked by a lot of people to, for favors throughout, which you're told in the back description that it starts that way, so that's not a spoiler. And he's asked to talk to the guy's daughter, the porter's daughter, Sophie, and he reluctantly agrees because he feels bad and sympathetic. But then it kind of goes in this weird, you get the impression he meets her at the coffee shop, and then all of a sudden it's like they already know each other and have already had an established relationship. So now I know that there was a little in Never Let Me Go, kind of also had a bit of a weird element to it. You had to figure out what was going on, and I'm guessing with that one, I'm guessing Kazuya Ishiguro is doing the same thing with this one, where there's things that aren't right with the character's situation. That's what I'm guessing. I'm very intrigued and want to know what is going on, and why does it seem like he doesn't remember things. And he is starting to, throughout his interaction with all these people, he's saying, he's vaguely reminded of something that he seems to have forgotten. And so it's just very interesting, and I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm definitely want to read more so I can figure out what is going on. It has almost like a dream-likeness to it. So I'm definitely want to understand what's going on. I think there's obviously something going on, and there's some kind of mystery that we need to piece together on why things are happening the way they are for our main character. So I'm definitely intrigued, and I forgot how I actually really like Kazuya Ishiguro's writing style. Granted, sometimes authors can write differently for different books. So maybe the way he's writing this book is being written, he didn't write Never Let Me Go the same way. But I'm really liking his writing. So that's that one. I haven't, I'm only in the middle of, let's see, where am I right now? I'm almost at chapter 7. So I'm not very far into the book yet, but I'm really liking it. I am, like I said, I'm very intrigued, and I want to know why things are so odd for our main character. I don't have a lot to say about Ship of Magic. started to bring it with me to work again and to read during my 15-minute break. But of course, I only get through maybe a couple pages. So I don't have a lot to say except for, Althea has lost the ship. It's been given to her older sister. So Kyle is running things, and oh my god, I cannot stand Kyle. I just hate him. He's really pissing me off. He just acts like because he's now her brother-in-law, he's allowed to control Althea. He's like, and then I can see where, like, I don't know if he's like, I feel like he's manipulated her sister somehow or something. Like, I mean, there has to, because he seems all charming and gentle and loving towards her, but then he'll like say things like, but then the whole thing with their son who wanted to be like, he was going into their equivalent to the church, and he's like, no, I'm gonna put him on, he's my oldest boy, so he needs to be on the ship with me. And his wife's like, but I thought we agreed he was gonna serve Sa, which is their god. And Wintrow, their son, clearly does not want to be on the ship. In fact, he's a little disturbed, scared of the live ships, and intimidated by them. Although I liked how they, meets Vivacia, his encounter, what we've seen so far of their encounter. It's actually kind of sweet. She, Vivacia, these live ships seem to have minds of their own, and they're almost very human-like. And she's very gentle and kind to him and tries to ease his way into being on the ship. Tries to comfort him. But and just, it's just very, you can kind of see where Keffria, Althea's sister, would kind of fall for and be, easily charmed by Kyle. Just the way he is with her, when they're seen when they're going to bed and talking things out, and he's explaining to her how Althea needs to follow my lead. I'm now the man of, because he's, the dad is dead and they don't have a brother. So he probably thinks he's the man of the house now. And I can't stand him. Now I'm thinking there's going to be something, I'm wondering, my first thought was there's going to be something with her and Kennit. Althea and Kennit, but I'm wondering if there's something with Brashen and her. I'm wondering if there's going to be something between the two of them. I don't know if they're just going to be a good friends, or if there's going to be a romance between them. But there might not be romance at all. I don't know. But I'm curious. I mean, it could be. I don't know if Robin Hood would do a love triangle or not, but maybe it could be that. Kennit and Althea haven't crossed paths, so I'm assuming they will. Because we're getting both their perspectives, so I'm assuming they're going to work together at some point. I mean, I could be totally wrong with that. But I don't know why we would have both their perspectives and them not cross paths in some way. But again, maybe they won't. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to continue with this. And, okay. So, I'm also reading Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, and it's kind of fun. Now, I had told Terry that I was reading this book, and she's a big vampire fan. She loves vampires. She loves Anne Rice novels, and she does kind of get into Twilight, but I don't think she was a huge fan of Twilight. I think she did enjoy it. I probably was more into it than she was at the time when it first started coming out. But as I'm reading this, I don't know if she would love this. Because, the vampires aren't, they're in there. They're part of their main character. Our main character is being interrogated by the vampire and everything. And it is a story where the vampires have taken over. But they also have the element of the thing I mentioned before that I don't always love, which is, vampires are only monsters. It seems that they are doing that, but I'm engaged in the story, and I'm intrigued by Gabriel's journey, and I like the idea of stories where characters that are generally just good people, they're not, naive or anything, they're not, so pure and angelic or anything like that, but they're just good people with good hearts and very compassionate, being thrown into a world where it's really ugly and harsh, and hard, and they still have to, they struggle with maintaining that compassion, that side of them that is good and that will defend others, even though they're constantly like told, you no, that's, you do not do that, it's not your place, it's not your business. Like there is a woman who gets, you have the priest of these assassins, which it, by the way, like Jay Christoph in this book, he does a similar thing he does in that other trilogy of his, where I read the first two books, I don't remember what it's called, where you're dealing with a main character who becomes part of a group of assassins. I mean, that's basically what these Silver Saint people are. They're assassins, and they work for the church. And they also have a sister equivalent who, so they're like the nuns, but they're not, they don't have the superpowers. They are not cursed, as they put it, as our main character Gabriel and all the other male characters. And at one point, Gabriel is asked to choose a horse, and he finds this horse, and it's like one of these things where you'll know if it's the one for you, if it's the horse you'll bond with. And it turns out one of the sisters, that is like, she sees this as her horse, and she doesn't like that Gabriel claimed the horse, and so she gets mad. And then I'm just gonna call her the Mother Abbess, is like, no, you are not going to do that. You're not going to give me attitude. You're meant to be silent, and you know your place. And she starts getting beaten, and Gabriel wants to defend her because he is a good man. He doesn't think this woman deserved to be treated like that. But then he's told, nope, you can't. It's not your place. Which every time I read that in the story, I'm like, I don't like that phrase. Like, it's so annoying. Like, know your place. Like, I always get frustrated when characters are told to know their place. Like, you get that in Jane Eyre too, where Jane is supposed to know her place. And I'm just like, and I so like love the triumphant moment when the character is like, nope, my place is here, not the place you give me, not the place you tell me I'm supposed to be in, but I'm picking my own place to be part of. So I love Jay Kristoff's writing. It's so immersive, and just getting into this world, getting this world described to you is like, it's brutal and gross, but it's so good. Like, I can picture everything, and just like, it's very, there's a lot of blood and stuff in here, because of course we're dealing with people that fight off vampires. And, there's one scene that kind of reminded me a little bit of, when I had just read that at the bookstore. It reminded me of the scene in Midsommar. Great horror movie, by the way. I think it's very unique. It's the same guys who did Hereditary. A24. It's them. And it was like a movie where this girl, accompanies her boyfriend, his friends, to I think Sweden or Switzerland, one of those. Sorry, forgive me, I don't remember which country. And every midsummer they do this big ceremonial stuff, and then they all gather together and everything, and it turns out it's very culty and a little crazy. And what they will do in the elders, when they reach their, I think, 75, then that's when they will do all, like, they will be too old and decide to go go off the cliff. And it kind of, what happens to the vampires when they the people that become, what happens to the people that just can't handle what has happened to them anymore, and they can't control it anymore, then they have to basically do something similar to that. And it made me think of that a little bit. But anyway, I'm really enjoying this, and it's kind of, I miss getting into, like, I need to pick the right fantasy book that was a little not as slow, because like Ship of Magic, I mean, I'm enjoying Ship of Magic, but Robin Hobb's books are slow, are very slow going, and very character driven. So it was kind of fun to, I think it's good to get into a more fast paced fantasy supernatural story that I can, move through quickly, but not quickly as in rushing through it, but just getting into the fun adventure and all that, Okay, so now let's talk about, now I'm going to talk about what books I got. I hope you guys aren't bored with these videos about like me just saying what I'm currently reading, or if I went to the roast off what I bought, because it's I love doing this and I love talking about books, but I do think about wonder, am I being creative enough for but then I don't want to be a try too hard with it either. So I'm kind of these videos kind of were doing this kind of was inspired by Steve Donahue. I know he does a lot of hauling books. He goes to the book battle in Boston a lot, and so like I'm thinking, well, he does a lot of hauls. So and I do go to the Givens/Roast Office bookshop a lot too, because it's within walking distance. Okay, so once again, there's not fantasy books. So first, this was one of the books I kept looking. I have a lot of books that I will keep looking at while I'm scanning the shelves and browsing to see if there's any books I'm interested in at the roast office. And there will be books every so often that I will constantly see there, like an Oscar Wilde biography. I keep almost buying that from there, and it still is there. It was there today, and no one's bought it yet. So I keep browsing. So maybe next time I'll buy it. I don't know. But this was one of the ones where I kept looking at the spine every so often. This, and now unfortunately it was one of those books where it just has blurbs on the back, which is really annoying. So I had to go on Goodreads and look up what this is about. But I don't like that older works that are old enough to have an anniversary edition, or like that are so, that they will get to the point where all they have on the back description is a blurb. Like someone saying how great the book is and, what it's done, how ambitious it is. And I'm like, okay, but I want to know what it's about. I don't care. I'm not going to just read a book because I'm told that it's really great. Even if it's by an author, even if it's blurb by an author that I like Brandon Sanderson or Stephen King, I want to know if I'm going to like the plot. I want to know what the plot is before I buy it. I'm not going to necessarily go with the book just because an author that I enjoy says, this is the best book ever. Besides, there's no guarantee, sometimes I do wonder maybe those authors are just chosen because it might be a similar genre. So like, oh, if this popular author loves this book, blurbs this book, then this will get this book, noticed. But, yeah, it was kind of annoying, so I had to go on Goodreads, which I was just thinking, when I go there, I don't do this at Books A Million when I go to Books A Million, or the rare occasion going to Barnes & Noble, I don't do it all the time. But when I go there, to Givens, I always, I will pick, a handful of books, a pile of books, and read the description, and then what I usually do is I go on Goodreads via my phone, and read the 3-star reviews, because I feel like those are kind of neutral reviews, and that's how I decide if I'm not sure if I want to buy the book or not. And I just keep thinking, I wonder if those people there are like, oh, another millennial's on their phone, or another Gen Z's on their phone again, and they're, then again, I'm here, and a lot of the books I buy are, like this, so, and I also don't even, and I don't always go to the YA section, in which there is a table with YA books, but I go over there and there's nothing there really intriguing, and maybe that's because I'm just aging out of YA. I mean, I've been doing that for a while, but from what it did get my attention that this book has been compared to The Name of the Rose, which I just finished finally. And I haven't done my review yet for it. I've been meaning to do that. I need to do that. I should have done that today. But I still got time today, so I could do it real quick, like tonight or something. It's just now I'm trying to break the habit of just writing a review just to get the review on there published. I can actually just take my time and wait until I'm ready, because I feel like some of my reviews could be better, because I'm just like, oh, I need to just get this review out there. But this is considered, like, it says it has romance and mystery and I don't remember what it said that like, I mean, it definitely intrigued me, and there's a lot of poetry in here, and that's one of the reviews for 3 stars said, if you don't like reading a bunch of poetry, if you're not poetry girly, then you might not love this, because there's a lot of poetry. And they also say it's a book about people who love books. So there was a lot of things that got me interested. I love how the cover is very, like, biblical in its art style and everything, medieval / biblical art style. I love that. It's so beautiful. Unfortunately, though, like I said, I don't remember what I read on Goodreads, what it said this is about, so I feel bad that I can't tell you. I should have double checked on that before I decide to film. But it's, like I said, it was compared to being it has a bit of a mystery to it. And this person who's, I think they said something about he or she is obsessed with this artist or poet or something. I think it's a poem, and it's one of those, I think, where you're going back and forth between the present to the past, or like you're getting the story of maybe I want to say I read something about that gave me the impression that was like this person's gonna read a story about 2 lovers or something. I know I didn't do my homework. I mean, I did do my homework when I was deciding if I wanted to buy it, but now I don't I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it did intrigue me. So and I'm definitely kind of being more interested in romance, but I'm still very particular about it. And I still don't necessarily want stories that are where it's all about romance. Like this but like but I will say this, that if it's in a TV show or movie, obviously, like Bridgerton, then I would rather watch it than read a book that's a romance. So that is Possession by A.S. Byatt, and it is I think it is a translated work. Yeah, I want to say it's a translated work. Let me see, is it translated? I want to say I read that it was. Maybe not. Maybe I was thinking about the other book I picked up and that happened to be translated. And this came out in 1990, so it's a lot older. But yeah, I am intrigued to read this. Again, I'm feeling that desire, and I'm talking about the book, and all of a sudden I want to read it, like right now. Okay, so this next one this is another one of those ones where I saw it there before, and I kept debating about it, and at first I wasn't interested. When I looked at the reviews on Goodreads, I decided I'm gonna not get this one. But then I decided to give it a chance again. So the good news is this one actually has a description. So it's set in 1809. An unconscious man is carried into a house in Somerset, England, in the ongoing war against Napoleon. The Battle of Corunna stands out as a humiliation. A once proud army forced to scatter civilized men, reduced to senseless acts of cruelty. Captain John LeCroix, I don't know how to say that. I never know how to say that word. That name. Has survived this infamous retreat and returned from Spain to England, but scarred in body and mind, and carrying with him a shameful secret. Gradually, LeCroix recovers his health, but not his shattered spirit. He cannot talk about the war or face the memory of what happened in that remote mountain village in Spain. LeCroix journeys north to the misty Isles of Scotland, with the intent of forgetting the horrors he has seen. His journey leads to encounters with thieves and scholars, cynics and idealists, and the possibility of a fresh start, a new life with a remarkable woman. But something else has followed him back from the war, something far more dangerous than any memory. As the northern summer ends, the shadow of the enemy creeps closer. A vicious England corporal and a Spanish officer are on the hunt, and the Haven LaCroix finds with a family of free thinkers, and the woman he has come to love cannot protect him from his pursuers, or his past. So that's the only bad thing about it. Sometimes I wonder, like, I don't want to spend, well, sometimes, like, I wonder if maybe there are at least some books I should give a chance, despite Goodreads reviews. But then I also don't want, even though I don't want to risk spending money, even though I'm not spending a lot of money at Givens. But yeah, that's why I go on Goodreads and actually read the reviews, because I get worried about, I still want to be cautious about spending money. But this one I remember this on intriguing the first time I looked at it, so I'm deciding to give it another shot. So the last book, what immediately got my attention for this was, well, first I thought the cover was really cool with the hands, Good King, Bad King, Good Kings and Bad Kids. But also, and this is by Susan Nussbaum, but also what got my attention is that our characters have disabilities. And they're at a school for kids with disabilities. So, now I wish this was more about girls, and like, I would like to know that there's girls in here that are also at the school than boys. So far, our main character is a boy from this back description. So that really is what caught my attention, that it said it's about kids that have disabilities, and as someone who does have a learning disability and is starting to realize she might be on the autism spectrum, that definitely intrigued me, reading a story about that. And I hope that there's someone on here that maybe is autistic. But yeah, this idea got my attention. Like, I want to see more books about that. And I also, what also really frustrates me? I want to see more books that are in other genres, like horror or fantasy, where characters, or science fiction, where characters have disabilities. Or historical fiction, that would be really cool too. But, like, fantasy, especially like I want to see fantasy where characters have disabilities that kind of have a connection to their magic or something. Or, like, they have a disability, like they are blind, or they are handicapped, or they have autism. I'm pointing just to this book like autism in this book, and I don't know if it is or not. But I think that idea of them dealing with the conflicts of a fantasy story, and they have those disabilities, I think it would add an extra layer to the story. And then, of course, now with horror, though, I would be nervous that they would use an excuse for comedy, like a character struggles with escaping because they can't walk, they're in a wheelchair or something, or they're not smart, they have a disability. A disability has to do with their intelligence level, so that makes them, like, I mean, I'd be worried about that with horror. But I would love to see. But then what in horror what they could do is that, prove me wrong, and do a horror story where that benefits them, their disability. And also, I want to see more than just physical disabilities. I want to see autism rep in other genres. And of course, also, like, in and then historical, it would be really interesting too, because you could see how they responded to it, in how they deal with it in a historical setting, especially the added challenge of people not understanding it. Like, people wouldn't know what autism is back in the, but I'm sure there were people that probably expressed symptoms of autism. Or seeing people, like on Bridgerton season 3 and part 1, there was a character in a wheelchair. Although they were one note character that like appears in a scene, like he's a potential someone that the main character that Penelope interacts with. And then he's a potential suitor for her, but then it goes nowhere with that. But yeah, I was really excited because it has, because again, we're dealing with kids with disabilities, and I want to see more of that in fiction. But I want to see it more in stuff that's not just contemporary, because I don't always gravitate towards contemporary stories. I mean, I'm definitely gravitating more and more to it, but my favorite genre will always be fantasy, and then horror and historical. So I would like to see it in those genres as well. But anyway, that is Good Kings, Bad Kings. And this is also, I have not heard about this book. So I want to get to so right now I'm thinking I want to get to this soon, but of course what will probably happen is it will sit on my shelf or sit on my floor and I won't get to it for a long time. But maybe I should try to prove myself wrong and start reading it sooner rather than later. But yeah, so there you go. So that is my book haul and kind of my update on how my reading is going. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified about my latest videos. It will really help my channel grow. And I would love to know what you all are reading as well. Have you heard of either of these books? Either of the books? Don't tell me if you didn't, like, if you didn't love them, that, that's fine, but, I want to experience them myself and read them myself at some point. So if you hated them, please don't tell me yet. If you've read them and hated them. I just kind of, like I said, I want to read them first. I want to try them out first. But it will be cool to know that other people are familiar with these books. Anyway, so I'm gonna go and I will talk to you all later. And I hope you are enjoying your reading. All right, bye.